What if you were to listen to an internationally acclaimed, multi-award-winning illusionist, and he had something far more to say than, "Watch this trick"? Rick Thomas is that performer, ready to go far beyond his magic and far beyond your imagination as he shares secrets regarding our dreams. Dreams that can become reality. The future belongs to those who believe in the strength of their dreams. Dreams pass into the reality of action. From the action stems the dream again. And this interdependence produces the highest form of living. Join Rick and his co-host, award-winning broadcaster Tammy Trujillo, for Nothing Happens Until You Dream. Indulge your mind and take a journey never to be forgotten. A journey connecting all of our dreams as we chase them together.
And Rick, I guess you know what we're talking about on this episode, right?
Tigers.
Yes. How did you guess?
I've started to look back on the podcast, and we are talking a lot about tigers. And it's not that I was obsessed by it or it's what life's all about, but I do know a lot about tigers. I do believe people should know what I know about them and understand the passion and desire that I have had my entire life to do the best I could for these animals, as well as the human race, so to speak. There's some people who are so much of an animal lover that nothing else exists. There are people that literally grab a hold of like one concept or one idea or one directive in their life, and nothing else matters. And the tigers were extremely important part of my life. But today we talk about not only about how wonderful they were in my life, but my responsibilities to the tigers.
Well, we're talking about chapter 13 in the book, and it's tiger health care. You know, just like you have to take care of your dog or take care of your cat, they have health needs. They have things that are necessary for them to live a good life. And tigers are the same. I don't think people can think about a tiger going to the veterinarian, but tigers need to be taken care of.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a lot of work, and the responsibility is a big deal. People talk about the tigers in the wild, and that's where they should be, and it is understood. But I will tell you this, in the wild, tigers, they can live 8 to 10 years. In captivity, possibly sometimes even up to 20 years. Many of my tigers lived 16, 17, 18 years. And the reason is they had somebody to take care of them, somebody to feed them, a doctor to look over them. When they get hurt in the wild, they're done for. Every single day, they charge and attack and do whatever they've got to do to survive in their life by prey that are out there. And it's just not a one-way street. These tigers get hurt chasing their meal. And in captivity, we literally slide the meal underneath a little bar in their little habitat. And they're like, "Thanks, Dad."
They got room service, essentially.
Basically.
Well, they not only have to chase down their food, what if they can't find any? You know, that's another situation. They have to go out and find their prey and get their prey. I wonder if they're successful every single day. Of course not. No. Whatever they're after may not be there. But then there's also the added problem that a tiger would have of people. You know, people are probably the only other creature on this earth that can really bring down a tiger. And unfortunately, that happens. Some of the stories you've told me about why people would want to kill a tiger or just, they're really hard to handle.
There are people in this world who believe there are certain parts of tigers that help them in so many ways.
I know where you're going.
And they utilize the parts of a tiger to give them strength or give them courage or whatever it may be. There are these stories that are believed. And in fact, when I travel the world and I do tour, part of my conversation, and many times I hand out a pamphlet explaining and I know it sounds morbid, but you have to explain to people who really truly believe this, the different parts of this animal that they utilize, and tell them that this is a farce. It's not doing what they think it's doing, and they are wiping out one of the most beautiful creatures on the face of this earth. So the tiger in the wild is few and far between. They are becoming an extinct species. And I'm hoping that there are people that kind of soften their hearts just a little bit regarding tigers in captivity and understand again that there is a way to put them in captivity, to protect them, give them the best life that we can financially. It's a big deal. They need a lot of space. We understand that. But without people who care, without people who have absolutely taken these animals and brought them into safety, they wouldn't exist anymore. So what are we supposed to do?
Well, that's with a lot of animals. One thing I learned recently, I was doing an interview with some people at the Los Angeles Zoo because they were doing some fundraising. And I didn't know that most zoos have captive breeding programs because they are so worried that so many of these species are going to disappear and we won't have them anymore out in the wild, that they're propagating different species between the zoos in order to keep these species alive so we can actually see them for real and not just some virtual tiger on some monitor someday.
We're never going to make everyone happy.
No.
There's always going to be dissidents. There's always going to be somebody who's going to cause a ruckus regarding whether we should have animals or not have animals. And we know the different organizations that are fighting against it. It is understood. I'm hoping that when people listen to this, that they understand that I believe that my heart has been in the right place. It continues to be in the right place. And there are people who are trying to truly take care of these animals in the best way they know how. Now, zoos, people are talking about, well, you had them in your production. Well, yes, I have a USDA license, just like the zoos do. They require the zoo by law to display the tigers. In so doing, they charge the public a fee to see these animals so that they can take care of these animals and continue to, as you know, breed them and try to save their species. Well, that same USD license is the same license that I carry in my presentation. I am required by law, I can say now, I was required by law to display these animals to the public and to talk about the endangerment of this species. That's the law. So there's a point where the only way we can do so is to present them. Government's given us that opportunity. We do charge money to see the production. That goes to taking care of the tigers. And I can tell you a lot of it goes to taking care of the tigers. Extremely expensive. I do not know how zoos do it. The amount of money that's needed to take care of the animals, to feed the animals, to care for them when they get hurt, all the vets that are required, it just floors me. There's a lot of love going on in the zoos, whether people want to be a part of it, accept it or not. You've got to understand there's good and bad in all things. And you need to kind of understand that there are those that are truly trying to do their best. And I can say that I appreciate where I am now. I appreciate that the tigers are in a reserve. I appreciate that my mind is set on the protection of the species rather than how I'm going to make them appear or disappear. So, we all grow, we all learn, we all do the very best we can with what we have. And with me, I gave it everything I got. And one of those is healthcare. These animals, just like your dog and cat, need their checkups. They need their shots. My tigers would get like a root canal. We'd have to have a root canal. Now imagine this. We can't walk a tiger into our vet at high noon.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Not even.
So the vet would, of course, finish their day and close the veterinarian facility. And then late at night, when there was no one around, because it was quite a unique experience, the tigers were brought in who needed to be taken care of, whether it was their teeth that needed cleaning or literally a cap put on a tooth.
Oh, my gosh.
Just like in the wild, those tigers have huge canines. Their teeth are massive. And in the wild, you will see they'll have often photos of these tigers where those teeth have just been busted off. And that's because they are out there fighting for their prey every day. Well, if they get busted off in some way or form, whether they bite into a bone from a chicken or whatever it may be, accidents can happen. We do take those tigers in. We sedate the tigers. We put a cap on their tooth. We tell them how much we love them and how much we want to continue to take care of them. Be a nice kitty, and when you wake up, don't be too mad at me because I'm only there to help you, not hurt you.
I'm getting this visual image of this tiger getting a capped fang. That is really amazing. That's amazing. It's got to be super expensive. I mean, it's expensive to take your domestic cat to the vet. I can only guess what kind of vet bills these cats could ring up. Must be huge.
They do, but that, again, is part of the reason as why we turn to the public to embrace the opportunity to see these beautiful creatures. It literally is a joint process. I'm not doing this on my own. I am extremely grateful for all the people who have come to my performances throughout all these years, allowing me the opportunity to not, of course, just have them in my life, but also to take care of them as well. It cannot be done by one person. So many of the reserves, even the zoos, often have to turn to donations on top of the public coming in because of the amount of effort it takes to take care of these animals. So we salute those who do love animals. They want them to be taken care of. They understand the scenario that we live in and the plight that these animals have, and to kind of tell other people to back off just a little bit and understand that, you know, nobody's perfect, but we are truly trying to do the best we can. And when we can stop the poachers from killing these animals in the wild, then by all means, take these animals and put them back out there and let them live as free as they possibly can. But until then, how are we going to stop it? How are we going to stop these people from just completely taking these animals off the earth without those animals actually being in captivity? It's our own fault.
Yeah,
we have people who, and that's why the education is huge. It's important that we truly educate people across the world and tell them, stop killing these animals for things you think they do to help you with your own health care.
Right.
All right? We got to care about the tigers. Stop thinking that these animals are doing something for you. And the only way to do that is just through constant education. It's a massive circle of life, and it's not perfect for sure because we sometimes lose the battle.
Well, those tigers have a right to live their lives as tigers and not as embodiments of health products or whatever, which really sounds rather ridiculous. You know, one thing I think when people get upset about tigers performing or any kind of animal performing, I think they get upset because there have been stories, and some of them are true, that the animals are trained by being made fearful. Being fearful of what will happen to them if they don't do what the person wants them to do. And I want to talk about that with you. How did you train your tigers to do what you wanted them to do in the show?
First of all, it's by working with those animals constantly throughout their adolescence. There comes a time where they automatically flat out know that they're a tiger. They truly do. That their instinct, you can't take it out of the tiger. You just can't. So, and I know this sounds kind of bizarre, but I'm not saying anything that people can't understand who have dogs who are really hard to take care of. But I started when these tigers were extremely young by putting my arm in their mouth when they were really, really young every single day. I put my arm in their mouth and I'd let them gnaw on my arm.
Oh, my goodness.
Right. And if they bit down too hard, I'd push in towards them a little bit so they realized that's hurting me. Don't do that.
Okay.
But it was very subtle and it was very simple and it was easy for you to deal with a tiger who, the moment he knew that he was biting you too hard, you could push in towards his mouth and he'll go, okay, I'm biting him too hard. Well, I got to a point where when the tigers are full grown, you can stick your arm in their mouth and they may kind of tease and like gnaw on it, but they have no wish, want, or desire to bite down and take your arm off. Unless you're aggressive with them. For the most part, you just do your very best at keeping them calm, cool, and collect.
And you had quite a few tigers in the show, so it wasn't the same tiger doing every single thing all the time.
One tiger would jump up extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
One tiger would run across the stage perfectly. One tiger we would just never use. So
Okay.
every animal, just like human beings, have their own attitude. They have their own problems. And sometimes no matter how much you try and how much you work with a certain animal, they're just going to be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And you find a place for them in your life and theirs. You don't abuse them. You don't treat them poorly because they're just not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the same thing with humans. I see so much in my whole life by raising these tigers. When there are so many people who think that they can get close to somebody or fall in love with someone and then magically change them.
Oh, yeah.
Change them to something that they never were. Change them into a better person.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how hard it is to change somebody?
It doesn't work. Simple. It does not work.
And that's a reflection off of working with these animals every single day. You literally can see their personalities. You can understand how far you can go with them. And you can realize that no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you want to love, that particular being may not love you back.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the impression that they enjoyed what they were doing?
I know for a fact that every day when we prepared to take the tigers into the showroom, that they literally would start running as fast as they could all over the habitat, not away from me, but towards me.
So they
They
knew.
would just bounce. They'd like bounce around. You know Tigger, how Tiggers bounce?
Yes, on his
You
tail.
heard about
Yes.
Tiggers bounce?
Yes.
Yes. Tiggers bounce. They really bounce. They bounce around. It is a funny thing to see, but they love to bounce around. They're excited. They're ready to go. I don't have to do anything. I just open up the doors of the habitat. They knew what they needed to do. They would go where they needed to go. And they also had a lot of relationship actually with my crew. We had, of course, one or two other individuals that always worked with them, and they got a lot of interaction with us. And I'm going to say it again, as I've said it before, tigers do not need humans to survive. And I repeat it again, they do not need us to survive. The problem is we are the ones that are wiping them out.
Yeah.
So, yes, they don't need us, but you know what? They actually do need us as well. So I hope that makes sense. We are our own worst enemy by the way we treat these animals. And in captivity, though I believe I gave them a great life and they had a wonderful habitat and we had a good relationship, literally, these tigers knew me and I knew them. I don't know how else to say it other than they were thrilled, I believe, with what they were doing. We were keeping them extremely mentally active and giving them a life that we thought was good for them as well. And again, there's where the line is drawn between those who do and those who do not believe in that process. But there has to be something done. And I'm just glad I'm part of trying to save something on Earth.
Well, working animals, the ones that I've dealt with, animals that work, whether they work in movies or work in law enforcement, they do, for the majority of it, love their jobs. A friend of mine was a police officer, and he had an attack dog, which was a great big, massive German Shepherd, and he had a drug-sniffing dog, which was a Malinois. And,
oh, goodness, yes.
Yeah. And those animals, they knew what time it was, each day that they went to work. And they'd be ready to go and jump in the car. And they were ready. They were happy.
Thrilled.
Yeah, they really wanted to go. And
well, of course, they are dogs. And no matter what you do to a dog, they're always happy.
That's true. That's true.
What an amazing animal. No matter who you are, how you treat them, how you talk to them when you come home from work, they're like, yeah, really? Tell me more.
They are a very happy type of animal. But
they are.
The dogs would get depressed when my friend would go on vacation and not work. Even if they were taken to the dog park, that's not what they wanted to do. They wanted to be in the car doing their job. And search dogs, all kinds of working animals, they do know what they're doing, and they do seem to enjoy it. And I've got to say, when I came over and saw the tigers, they always seemed like very happy tigers. They were coming up and to say hello. They were doing that wonderful thing, chuffing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Coming straight to you, wanting to be as close to you as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Not to eat you,
Right.
but to actually show you that they want the camaraderie. They want to be there with you. Going back to healthcare, it's just one of the many parts of the responsibilities I felt I had with these animals. I really felt that, again, if they were to be part of my life, that it wasn't just to take a photo or to demonstrate to the public how amazing I think I am. Behind the scenes, taking care of the animals when they weren't being presented to the public and making sure that they were cared for and fed and cleaned and brushed and shampooed, and just like your dog, it's the same thing. It just happens to be a little larger exotic animal, but the responsibilities were mine. And I took those responsibilities, appreciated them, and embraced them. And it was all part of just taking on the responsibility of having an animal in your life.
I know you love animals. I know, because you have all kinds of animals. Do you miss your tigers?
That is such a hard question. And I pause by saying, yes, I miss the tigers. You know life and how you remember things as though they were yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
That's the same with me with the tigers. It's been some time since they've been in my life, but for me it was yesterday. And I can literally tell you, I know every tiger. I know the noise that each one makes. I know their look in their eye when they look at me. I know the way they walked when they walked next to me. I know those tigers. So yes, I miss them, but also the responsibility that I had literally was huge. And when I finally placed them in the reserve and stepped away from those responsibilities, I could focus on many other aspects in my life that the tigers had taken away from me. That's the best way to put it. It's a lot of time and a lot of effort. You give your life to this. It is constant. You go out there and it's 24/7. It's not just the show. It's the making sure that they're going to get to the show, making sure that they're fed, they're clean, they're healthy, they're happy, and they're literally another being in my life. And so when I finally stepped away, it was a sigh of relief for time that I was able to now take and do other things in my life as well. Time is precious. We can't get it back. The worst thing you can do is waste time.
Absolutely.
But when I finally was able to do so, it gave me time to focus on so many other things in my life as well and look back on it and appreciate that chapter in my life.
I already know the answer to this question, but what is the picture on your cell phone?
Oh, it is. The picture on my cell phone is Samson, my white tiger, and I jumping Samson up into my arms. He's 500 pounds, and I'm 6'4", and I reach high in the air, and Samson would jump up and touch the tip of his nose to the tip of my fingers, literally as I stood, and he'd surpass me another 2 feet. So you're looking at 7-8 feet in the air, standing high. And that's the shot on my cell phone. And I wonder sometimes why I don't change it. It's not that I'm stuck on it. It's not that, I don't know. It's just, it's there. It has so much meaning. It is so solid. I could put a beautiful photo of my children or my wife, and I understand all that. And you know what? I don't even go around and show people. Right. I don't show people that, hey, look at this. Look, I got a picture of me. It's me picking up my phone and every day seeing Samson.
It's for you.
So, yeah, just for me. It's just for me.
Well, that speaks volumes about how important these animals were to you and how much you loved them, that you have that picture there.
You caught me.
I know I did. I know. If you ever take it off, I think you will regret it. I bet it's going to be there forever. And it marks such an incredible period of your life that it should be there.
It's on my computer as well. I have 2 massive computer screens in front of me, and there is a tiger in my arms. And on the left of the screen, I designed one side of the face of a tiger. I love the split of a tiger's face. So I cut off the tiger's face straight down the nose, and there's only one eye on the corner of my computer, and that's just the eye of the tiger. And it bleeds all the way across the rest of the screens into the second screen. And again, I don't see a reason why it should change. It's so elegant. It's so stunning. It is so beautiful. And I know people can easily on a whim just change their screens, but I don't know, for some reason, the moment I created those screens, I'm not talking just a year or two. I'm talking a very long time.
Well, again, I just think it marks something incredible that you were able to do. And that is to live with tigers, to understand tigers, to be friends with tigers, and to have them in your show. And that's Rick Thomas and tigers are always going to be connected in so many people's minds and in reality. So I know they're going to be there forever. I'll talk to you when you're 95 and they'll still be there.
Oh, goodness. Absolutely. And I'm going to pass this on to everybody else. It's not easy. It's not easy to take care of animals, but do your very best. If you do accept an animal to be in your life, it is exhausting.
Yes, it is.
I tease people in my show. I have birds, and I tell people in my show every night that I hate birds.
Yes,
and
you
then they
do.
come out after the show and they say, "Do you really hate birds?" And I said, "You raised birds for 40 years, and then you come back and tell me what you think about birds." Now, there's going to be bird lovers saying, "What are you saying? I love birds." Well, yes, but you clean them, you take care of them, the caging, the watering, the feeding. It can be a toll on you after so long. So, yeah, it's a tease. So it is a love-hate relationship, but I tease the audience about that.
I think all of us have a bit of a love-hate relationship with our animals. I mean, we love them to death, but I don't like picking up dog poop. I don't like cleaning cat litter boxes. I don't like having fur all over my butt. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't like about living with cats and dogs and birds. I have 2 birds, too. I have a dove and a pigeon. You know, sometimes I think, wouldn't the house be so much cleaner and quieter if they all weren't here? But you know what? I'd rather have them here and have fur on my butt. So,
yep, you just can't live without them.
No, absolutely not. But you are so right. And I say this all the time to people. When you adopt any kind of animal, it is a commitment. They are depending on you. We've caused that. And they're not disposable. You're making a commitment to them. And you have to think it through very hard before you do that adoption. You can't do it on a whim or spur of the moment, because you're taking on another life. And it is so incredibly important that you do it right. So I'm with you. But you did the tigers right. I know you did.
I appreciate the podcast today. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. When I started the podcast tonight, and we're going to talk about healthcare for tigers, I scratched my head and I said, what am I going to say? How am I going to share something that may appear to be so mundane to others? All I can say is I hope somebody got something out of this. I know I did. And that's appreciation for the care that we need to give not only the tigers, dogs, cats, and birds in our life, but the people around us as well.
Yep.
You need to nurture, you need to take care of, and work on those relationships. And that's what I'd like to leave, at least with this portion of the podcast, before we turn to
Sunday.
All right, people, you got to show up. You got to be there. This is a big day for me to share with you what I know about what everybody is talking about. I had a gentleman come up to me literally even just yesterday. He knows me, came up to me and says, "Rick, how's that gold thing going that you're talking about?" And I said, "Awesome. Have you gotten any?" And he's like, "Well, not yet." I said, "Okay, can I force people to diversify and buy gold and silver? No. But I can tell you what it's done for me. Whether you embrace gold or silver, precious metals, that's going to be your choice. There's no question about it. You need to. You need to jump in and start, and I've used the word constantly, diversify your portfolio. I'm not the only person screaming from the rooftops all about what's going on out there. People are saying, stock market? Am I going to just sit there and let that market control what I have? Why would I invest in something that can take money away from me? You need to invest your money in things that are going to hold their worth. Yes, you can buy homes, you can buy land, you can buy gold and silver. And the reason is because it holds its worth. And this Sunday night, I'm going to give you an amazing story, a story about how it fell into my lap. And I'm telling all of you, this gold mine was laid at my feet.
Wow.
And I'm just going to share it with you as well. So enjoy the ride. On top of it, we're going to get to see each other. I'm going to present some magic as well.
Yeah, of
You'll
course,
see
you
some of my
better.
show that I'm presenting personally. So you're going to be entertained.
Rick, I know what some people are thinking right now. They're saying, okay, here's this world famous magician with this huge, amazing show. He's talking about gold and silver. Well, he can afford it, but yeah, right. Me?
You know what's amazing about it? You can buy a single 1 ounce coin for under $30 for a 1 pure ounce of silver.
Okay.
Start with that. Start with 1 coin. Start with 1 coin a week. Start with 1 coin a month. And those are the things that I share with you, literally how to obtain these precious metals and do it right and do it at what you can afford. If it's 1 ounce, 1 coin that you can put away, fine, but do it and do it consistently. And I'm going to show you how.
Okay.
Sunday night.
This Sunday night, and you got to help me with the times, Rick, because I'm terrible with these time zone things. It's 5 Pacific.
6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 Eastern.
Okay, great. So you're going to learn a lot about what Rick is talking about, precious metals, silver and gold. You're going to get a chance to see some terrific magic. I mean, of course, Rick's going to do some magic. If we're lucky, thunder, lightning, and storm will tromp on through and let us take a look at their glory. Tara's going to make an appearance.
Well, she'll probably have to make an appearance if the dogs are running around. We don't let them. We don't let them run around the house too often. They are monsters.
It's a
These guys
special
are-
occasion.
They're huge. Yeah, bringing them in here to my office is going to be a treat.
All right. And this is going to be over Zoom. The link is in the show notes for this episode of the podcast. Rick and I are also putting it up on all of our social media. It's free. You just jump on the Zoom link at the appropriate time and spend a bit of your Sunday evening with us. We'll have some fun, see some magic, learn some things. It could change your future. Very
Oh,
simply.
no, it will change your future. Whatever your decision is, if I can spark an interest, that's all I care about. And by the way, I am fully aware that I deeply appreciate you giving up part of your Sunday evening and Sunday night football for I am.
Oops.
So you better just a little bit. It will change your life. However you want to proceed with this, however you want to see this, I simply want to educate you just a little bit and have some fun and change your life forever.
All right. So it's this Sunday, 5, 6, 7, 8, depending on what time zone you're in.
Oh, come on. We're all smart. We can figure it out.
You know, I can do the Pacific 5. Okay. So we can go
And I'll do
from
the
there.
Central 7.
Okay. And then I can do East. It's 8. All right.
There you go.
See,
Wow.
I'm getting it. I'm learning. The show notes have the link. It's on our social media. Mine, Rick's personal one, Mansion of Dreams.
It's simply the magic of gold and silver. Be there.
Okay. We will see you on Sunday night.
Thanks for joining us this week on Nothing Happens Until You Dream, starring Rick Thomas and featuring Tammy Trujillo, and is based on Rick Thomas's best-selling book, The Tiger Whisker, available on rickthomas.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'd love for you to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. And check us out on Patreon for exclusive members-only content. Stay up to date with Rick and Tammy at nothinghappensUntilYouDream.com. Remember, you must follow your dreams, not only for yourself, but for the rest of our future. We'll see you on the next episode.